Friend, why haven't you moved yet? God has been telling you to move, and I don't know if maybe you are not trusting your intuition or the signs you're seeing, but God is trying to do something new in you, but it requires you to be in a new environment. And I think you're scared, which is normal. It's we're human, but this here has been tugging on your spirit for a while now. And you know that you are not supposed to be living where you are anymore. You know, where God is trying to take you, you have to be in a new environment. He needs you in a quiet place where He can really speak to you, where He can really pour into your spirit what He needs you to do, you know, and you're not able to hear Him clearly and it's making you confused, friend. And He's been telling you to move. This is your confirmation. If you need any more confirmation, I want to give you some signs, that it's really meant for you to move. The first one is that you keep seeing different, you know, it could be symbols, signs, synchronicities that you keep seeing over and over again, and this may be happening after you've prayed about it, with your time with God. You started receiving dreams, repeating dreams, and it's nudging your spirit where you're uncomfortable, you know. It may be even to a point where God is showing you scriptures, that are relating to what you've asked Him. You've asked Him for confirmation. The second sign is that you feel uneasy in your current environment. You feel like you don't belong anymore. You're unsettled. You know, you feel like the city you're in, you're being held back. It's like you feel like you don't belong, like it's a shift, like you feel out of place. You know, the third sign that God is trying to tell you to move is you keep seeing the city that you should be in everywhere. You keep seeing it everywhere. It's hitting you right in your face. Everywhere you go, you may start getting phone calls from this city. You keep seeing repeated street signs, getting mail from that city. You know, the fourth sign, you may have a stranger that has come up to you, and prophesied, and gave you that confirmation. This is a stranger. This is somebody that knows nothing about you, but God put it on their heart to speak that over you, to give you further confirmation. You know, God uses His people, His prophets, spiritually mature people, you know. He'll send them to you to affirm what He's already placed in your spirit, and these are often, confirmations that you are feeling what you're feeling, and it's uncomfortable. Change is uncomfortable. The fifth thing that you'll usually start to notice is bad things start happening, and they'll start continuing in your environment. You may feel like you're not growing spiritually anymore in the city you're in. You know, you may feel like if you move to this new place, your season will be better. You could bring in what God is showing you is due to you. Because He needs to get you in that quiet place. And when you're in that quiet place, God is, it allows Him to pour into you, get you away from all those distractions, where He can actually tell you what you're supposed to be doing. And here's the thing. Whatever God is telling you to do, He's going to fund it. You'll start to have financial provision appear unexpectedly. Money and you'll have the money or the resources you need. People will start to help you. You'll start to receive financial blessings out of nowhere. Because whatever God favors, He is going to fund it for you. You'll start to receive supernatural blessings. I know that when I was being called to move, I just kept ignoring it, but I knew it was right, and when He started pouring into me where He wanted me to move, you know, I just continue to fight it. I continued to fight it. I did not think that I was hearing correctly. You may have kids. You feel like you don't want to move because of your kids, but at the end of the day, you have a peace about leaving, other than the other distractions. Even though you scared, sorry y'all, you'll still have a peace over you that it just feels right. Like you're moving in the direction where God is leading you to. And this is a major sign of divine confirmation. You know, like when God was telling me to move, I just would not move. I started having bad things happen to me because my season was over where I was at. You know, I had a wreck. The plumbing, the plumbing in my house kept flooding. Because I kept ignoring what He was telling me to do. I already had someone when I was in the store to come and prophesy to me what I was supposed to be doing, and I just bust out crying because I already knew in my heart what God was telling me to do, but I didn't want to change. I didn't want to be uncomfortable. I didn't trust Him like I needed to. And that's why you got to watch what you pray for, because God usually work in ways that you're not comfortable with, because you got to be stretched. You got to be open to new possibilities and new environments, meeting new people. You know what I mean? But when He tells you to go, I'm telling you, you're going to start to receive supernatural blessings. When I moved to a new city, I'll never forget. God literally funded my move. Um, for about 2 or 3 months, me and my kids, we would go travel to the city, just check it out. Spend the weekend down there. We used to go like every 2 weeks, to see if it felt right, and it did. It even got to a point where after all that, I still ignored it. And my son is the one that pushed me and said, now I know you're not finna change your mind. I literally had my bags packed for a whole month or two before I actually decided to go ahead and go. And I'll never forget getting to the new city where God moved me to, going to the mailbox, y'all. And I promise you, I had a check for $600 from a company I knew nothing about. I knew nothing about. The people were so friendly. It's like soon as I got to the environment, I was meeting strangers that were introducing me to new things. I had left my current career behind and I started doing something different. Things just started to fall into place. And back in my hometown, when I was, trying to price my move and I was like, oh, this is going to cost too much. God blessed me with people who were willing to literally help me move for not even half of the price that people were quoting me when I was calling. You know, I even had people to clean my home for free. You know, these are the things that's how you know it's right. That's how you know when it just goes smooth, that's how you know God is in control. You know, and you just have to lean on your faith and know that wherever God is trying to take you is right. And it's not easy, you know, especially when you move into a new city. It's lonely. You don't know anybody. You don't know the unknown. You know, and it's really uncomfortable for you and your children. But I promise you, things will start to make sense, and even your children will build connections with people, you know, and just be thankful for the move, you know. So I don't know who this is for this morning, but trust in God, you know. Have that faith of a mustard seed and trust Him and just watch how He flips your situation. He's going to take care of you, literally. You know, but if you're going to go on this journey and you're going to answer the call, you have to be willing to step out on faith, friend. You know. So I love you guys. Everyone have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you soon.